He shouldn't have touched it. He shouldn't have gone anywhere near that stuff. He'd known that before he'd even walked into the room. Thrashing around on the floor in a panic, the man tries to claw the black slime away from his body. Its tendrils snake their way up his arm, burning the skin underneath. He tears at it with his free hand, trying to claw the sludge off of his body, but it just sticks to his other hand and spreads along it. As it consumes his body, he feels it stretching out his limbs, popping bones out of their sockets, gnawing at his flesh. He barely has time to let out a terrified shriek before a tendril of the slime wraps around his chin and starts to snake its way into his mouth. It isn't the things you do in life that you most regret. It's the things you are too scared to do. The man knows, as he stands there in the pouring rain looking up at the hotel that he visited all those weeks ago, that the memory of his son walking through those double doors will haunt him forever. His suit is soaked through, he's shivering, but even now, he can't bring himself to walk through those front doors, not even to save his little boy's life. Weeks ago, they'd been standing on these steps together, not holding hands. His son had looked up at him with cheeks streaming with water. The man hadn't been able to look his boy in the eyes. He couldn't bring himself to see how they'd clouded over. He wasn't sure if the boy could even still see him through the rain. "Do I have to go in there?" "It's the only way to help you get better. We've tried everything else." All he had to do was go inside, head up to door 100. There was a doctor staying in this hotel, someone who could make all the pain go away. It was the man's responsibility to take his son inside, to accompany him, to look after him. But he'd been too scared, and so the little boy had gone inside on his own, meeting a strange doctor they weren't even sure existed in an enormous old hotel without his father. The little boy had been braver than the man could ever hope to be. It's only the memory of his son's bravery that makes him take that step now. His son had been missing for weeks, somewhere inside this hotel. They hadn't received a telegram for weeks. It's up to him to go inside and find his child, to save his life. He refuses to let himself acknowledge the real reason he's here, the real source of his cowardice. He pushes open the doors with trembling hands. It's dark. Even though it's nighttime, there are barely any lights on inside the lobby. The roaring fire to his right is the best source of light in the room, casting a flickering orange glow across the whole place that makes the hotel seem like it's got front row seats to watching the world burn. The man shakes his head. That's too bleak. He can't be thinking like that. See the silver linings here. There's a warm fire that he can dry off next to. He's barely had a chance to extend his frigid fingers out toward its warmth before a screeching voice interrupts him. The man hadn't spotted the clerk sitting behind the front desk. She's so short that her head barely reaches over the desk. He apologizes and rushes over to her. She's a wild-looking woman with tousled hair sticking out at all angles and a broad grin stuffed full of oversized teeth. Her speaking voice is shrill. It's like she's screeching even though it's just the two of them in the room. He tries to explain the situation to her patiently. He dropped his son off here a few weeks ago to see a doctor in room 100. The boy had contacted him a few times in the weeks since via telegram, but had suddenly stopped replying. The more he talks, however, the greater his irritation grows. The clerk clearly isn't listening to him. There's a little spot of ink or something on her desk that she's poking around with a pen. It's thick and gloopy. Another drop lands on the desk. Both of them look up in unison to see a black stain on the ceiling, dripping some kind of viscous black slime. The woman tries to brush the splodge off her desk with a wrinkled hand, but it sticks to her skin. Trying her best to wipe it off, she explains to him that she's heard nothing of such a boy, but that he is more than welcome to make his way up to room 100 to see the doctor himself. She tosses him a key without even looking, still staring at the little black spot on her hand. He guesses it'll be up to him to find his way to room 100. How hard could that be? The lady behind the desk screeches at him as he heads for the door next to the reception.
"Just go through room 1, then 2, and so on. Try not to get lost. I seem to be getting confused a lot more at the moment."
She seems lost in thought, so he decides it's probably best to leave her be. Bit of a strange layout for a hotel, he thinks. Aren't they normally just corridors with the rooms numbered along the sides? Why should he have to go through 100 doors just to get to one specific room? He slides the key into the door and clicks it open. Peering around it, he's immediately caught off guard. He'd been expecting a hallway, a set of stairs, something normal. But instead, he's in some kind of meeting room. A large table dominates the room with a fireplace at the other side. On the walls are a number of paintings. But there's no door. The screeching woman at the desk must have made a mistake here. He goes to turn back through the door he's just come through, but it's shut behind him and locked itself. He rattles the handle, banging on the wood, but with no reply. His blood runs cold. What has he just got himself into? He calls out a few times, but there's no reply. Don't panic. Don't be scared. There's nothing to worry about. He walks over to the fire to warm himself up. He'll just stand here for a minute and calm himself down. There's no way he's stuck in here, surely not. As he stands by the warm hearth, looking around the room, he does spy something odd. The paintings on the walls, it looks like someone has switched them around. It's subtle, but behind the current, there are faded markings on the walls of which ones used to hang on each hook. Perhaps it's his nerves or his slight OCD, but the man can't help but change them all around. He'll just hang them all in the correct spots and it'll be okay. As he carries them around the room to the correct places, he tries to ignore the fact that all of the paintings look blurry to him, with little spots missing from his vision. Not worth thinking about that now. There's a clicking noise behind him as he hangs the painting, the sound of wood sliding across wood. The light in the room suddenly changes as the fireplace sinks through the floor, revealing a hidden door behind, marked 002. The man freezes, staring at it. This is no ordinary hotel. He needs to find his son and get the boy out of there as quickly as possible. Striding across the room and through door 2, he finds himself in a much easier room. It's just a corridor with a few windows on either side and door 3 waiting in the shadows. Very hesitantly, he walks along the corridor, listening to the storm hammering at the window panes all around him. It can't be this easy, can it? But it is. Door 3 opens just like that. No puzzle, no tricks, just a regular door with another normal room behind it. Perhaps that first door had just been a trick, some kind of elaborate puzzle to discourage people who weren't staying at the hotel from wandering through. But as the man makes his way through the next few rooms, he can't help but start asking questions. Where are all the guests? What rooms are they staying in? His question is partially answered in room 9. There's a bed, wardrobe, and a few chests of drawers. He stands nervously in the doorway and calls out an apology for barging in. There's no reply. No evidence of anyone sleeping on the bed. No bathroom. Is this really how the hotel was designed? Or something happened to it? He can't help but feel like he's being watched, like there's a pair of eyes drilling into the back of his head. He spins around, but there's nothing there. Just another black patch of slime on the wall. That's when the lights start to flicker. He doesn't really notice it at first, but beneath the sound of the howling wind outside, there's another noise growing in the distance, getting closer and closer. A kind of terrifying rushing noise. Fear grips him, and before he has a chance to think, the man dives underneath the bed. Not a moment too soon, as the door slams open and a shadow rips through the room, half human, half something else. It crashes against the walls, thrashing around, casting darkness on all of the walls. Sometimes it seems to be a person running. Other times, it's a kind of black ghost. It clatters against the door to room 10 and falls through it, collapsing on the floor. The man hides under the bed, staring at the thing for a long moment as it pants and squirms on the carpet. He needs to be brave. He knows that he needs to be brave for his son. He'll go out and see what this thing is, try and help it somehow. But the closer he gets to the monster on the ground, the more confused he is. It's covered in that black slime from before. It seemed like a human, trapped inside the tar. Limbs try and kick their way out, but get reabsorbed into it. Only part of its chest and face remain. A label on its chest tells him that it used to be a room service attendant. The name on the badge has been scrawled over in black slime with the name Rush. What's left of the boy's face is lit up with a smile that continues into the slime, getting distorted into a cackling grin. He wants to reach down to the man to try and help save him from becoming whatever he's becoming, but he's terrified of touching that slime. The creature on the ground thrashes around for a moment and takes off running and flying again, barreling through the next couple of rooms with frenzied energy. The man can't tell if it's chasing something or being chased. He's not sure he wants to know either way. He takes off running, going through as many rooms back to back as he can. He finds keys and drawers to open doors, fumbles his way through dark rooms, and watches as the black patches of slime on the walls appear more and more often. It's as if the hotel is getting more and more corrupted the closer he gets to room 100. What had that doctor been doing up there? What had he started? Room 30 passes by, then 40, then room 50. Halfway there. It's a library, silent and imposing, but empty. No monster steps out from behind the bookshelves to hunt him down, nothing to fear in the darkness. He almost enjoys his time in this room. There are clues written in various books around the room, giving him a secret code to get through the next door. He likes it here. The library is peaceful and still. He might even come back here one day. It feels like home. But beneath the stillness, his fear starts mounting. The more he stares at the books, the harder it is to read them. The little gaps in his vision that had been there in the room with the paintings had grown substantially, even in the previous few hours. The man knows he's a coward. He can tell himself that he's come here to rescue his son all he likes. The sad reality is the only reason he returned to this hotel at all was that he found the affliction taking over his sight. If it wasn't for his own impending blindness, would he have left his son to die here? Would he have turned around and left long ago? He closes the book and opens the door to room 51. It makes no difference what his motivation is. He's going to push through, find his son, and get his own vision restored. And he won't be afraid. But that changes in room 63. He isn't sure if the room is this dark or if it's his own vision abandoning him, but he can barely see his hands in front of his face. Yet as soon as he walked through the door, he knew someone was in there with him. A presence somewhere, lurking in the shadows, just out of his sight. He spins around as fast as he can and screams in shock. The clerk from the front desk is hanging there, suspended in the air. Except she isn't the clerk anymore at all. She's morphed into a slimy black creature with an enormous grin stuffed full of tombstone teeth. What had been her wild hair is now a writhing mess of black, stringy tentacles. She screeches at him the second they lock eyes, drowning out his own scream with one so deafening that he stumbles backwards in terror. Screech launches herself at him, mouth gaping open wide, and takes a bite out of him. He crashes to the ground hard, feeling himself bleeding heavily from a bite across his chest, but he hasn't got time for that. He has to run. Pushing through door after door, the man runs in a daze, feeling the blood pulsing in his vision. The injury on his chest burns. It's hurting so bad that he feels like he started hallucinating. The black patches of slime on the walls seem to be growing eyes. The worse his vision becomes, the more eyes appear, as if they're mocking him in his fruitless journey into the heart of the hotel. Drifting in and out of a waking nightmare, the man isn't sure what's real anymore. He sees humans drenched in slime stalking the corridors, finds impossible rooms backing onto themselves, and hears monsters screeching and thundering through the halls of the hotel behind and ahead of him. He imagines his son, his poor boy, being abandoned in the middle of this fever dream, left with some mysterious doctor who stands over him with a needle full of black sludge. What had they done to his son? What had his boy become? Would he ever even know? What hope did he have of finding the boy without the use of his eyes? Room after room, the man lurches through the hotel as his eyesight fades away. Creatures snap at him in the dark, biting him, throwing him out of closets, and knocking him to the ground. Most of them don't seem to be fully formed yet, as if they're still partially just hotel staff and guests being overtaken by this inevitable infection. Eyes study his progress from all directions. The man collapses to the ground several times from exhaustion and blood loss. He wants to give up, to run and hide and never come out, but there's something in his head that pushes him on. A memory. The weeks before his little boy had been born, when a doctor handed him a stethoscope so he could listen to his son's heartbeat for the first time. What he wouldn't give to hear that little heartbeat just one more time. The man can't read the 100 written on the door as he stumbles through it. Overcome with the fear of his vision failing him, he pushes into it in a panic, tripping over himself and crashing painfully onto metal? The wood board floors and soft carpets are gone, replaced by utilitarian metal. What's left of his vision tells him there's a kind of green light falling on him, the light of an exit sign. This must be it. Room 100. His boy, his little son, will be somewhere here. He calls out, but there's no reply, just the hard echo of his own voice off the metal walls. He gropes his way to a handrail and a set of stairs going down to a floor below. There's a different kind of light down there, a blue flickering one, with a sound of sparking and humming. The man fumbles his way down the stairs until he's face to face with the rift. This must be it. Whatever the doctor was working on, the cure, it's here in front of him. He reaches out a hand towards it with hope lighting up his face. He feels something wet and heavy drop onto his bare skin. A wave of dread washes over him. His stomach knots. He doesn't need to be able to see to know what's just touched him. It wraps itself around his hand in a split second. He falls to the ground, screaming in pain. Thrashing around on the floor in a panic, the man tries to claw the black slime away from his body. Its tendrils snake their way up his arm, burning the skin underneath. He tears at it with his free hand, trying to claw the sludge off his body, but it just sticks to his other hand and spreads along it. As it consumes his body, he feels it stretching out his limbs, popping bones out of their sockets, gnawing at his flesh. He barely has time to let out a terrified shriek before a tendril of the slime wraps around his chin and starts to snake its way into his mouth. Then his world turns black, truly black. It snakes its way into his mind, pulling at his thoughts and memories, twisting his nightmares into contorted versions of themselves. His son screams at him, eyes burning and filling the abyss. Eyes surround him, blinking and staring at him as he feels his own disappearing. His mouth stretches in a cry of fear, teeth sprouting and stabbing through his gums. His limbs stretch longer and longer, skin disappearing to reveal fresh bones. And then, stillness. The darkness remains, but he knows the slime is gone. The humming sound of the portal over him. It saved him. He's still alive somehow. Ungainly, with 2 long arms and legs, he climbs to his feet, listening to the world around him. He lurches in place, trying to ground himself. The world sounds closer, clearer. He can hear every little sound in the room around him. If he listened hard enough, he could even hear someone's heart. The figure stands there in the dark room, totally alone. His son is somewhere trapped in this hotel. He knows it. He will find him. And when he does, he will release him from the pain of being trapped here forever. He will set him free. He has no idea how long it's been. A few days? Years? Has he always been trapped in this hotel? Figure's world is dark and confused. He wanders through the library in room 50, searching for something. He can't remember what it was. He just knows that he needs to kill it, to set it free. And as he stands there panting heavily, he hears something. A door opening and a pair of hesitant footsteps entering the room.